Hello, Cancer, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we'll be looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of this connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they're not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. On that note, the whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that's totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Cancer. Let's jump on and let's see what we've got here. We're going to start with looking at the overall energy for your side of this connection. So we're going to look at overall energy with oracle cards first, and then we're going to dive deeper into the story with tarot a little bit later on in the reading. So this is for Cancer side of this connection. Oh, okay. Sparks with dead end. Then you have separation. So this is someone that you're in separation with. Okay. This was a very explosive connection with the sparks here. I feel like it was very intense, maybe very fast. Like from a spark to like a wildfire. I feel like it happened very quickly. And then there's the dead end. This crash and burn kind of thing. And it led to separation. I feel like now you're kind of left in this position of trying to make sense of it all. I feel like it's one of those connections where it was like a whirlwind. It was so quick. It was so intense that it just left you with a lot of questions here. So I'm sure there'll be a lot to dive into. Let's look at this person's energy toward you, Cancer. Explosive, that's the word I heard. Confusion. Can't tell if they're, well, let me get one more, that might help. And then healing with detachment, unfinished business. Okay. I feel like this person is actually just as confused as you are at what went down. I feel like triggers really got in the way. Almost like, you got triggered and they got triggered and then you were triggered by their trigger, or it could have been the other way around. I don't know what happened, but I feel like it was such, like I said, such a whirlwind, and I feel like whirlwind, and it left this person in a state of confusion too. Now, this detachment card to me, it feels like they're trying to be detached, trying to act like they don't care, trying to keep their distance. And I feel like, but yeah, they have this grief and sadness, they have this unfinished business. There's definitely still this part of them that it's like they're not dealing with it. That's what it feels like. They're just trying to distract from it. I don't feel like, with this healing card, I'm actually more drawn to the side that is unfinished here. It feels like they're not really healing. They're not really moving on. They want to, they're maybe trying to, but it's not successful. And I feel like it's because they really feel this unfinished business kind of thing here. And I think that it's hard too, because I feel like to be honest, I feel like you're dealing with someone who doesn't like to deal with uncomfortable things. It's why they're trying to detach, even though there's obviously there are obviously feelings here. There are obviously still things that are keeping them very attached. So let's look at the truth of this connection between Cancer and this person. It doesn't mean that it was short-lived. I just feel like it was intense, and like the fallout was fast. I feel like that's the biggest thing here. Wild card. There's a lot up in the air here when it comes to this connection for both people, but fate. You and this person were absolutely supposed to meet. I feel like this person plays a big role, or like your connection to them plays a pretty big role in like your healing journey, your growth journey, your spiritual journey, if that's what resonates with you. But I feel like there's a lot more to like the purpose than the connection itself. So I feel like we have a lot to explore in this reading. I think that this is one of those connections that just kind of feels a little bit confusing for everybody. I feel like, you know, that's the point of these readings, right? Is to look at all three sides, because, you know, perspective is a funny thing. Two people can go through the same exact experience and have completely different perspectives about it. So trying to understand the other person's perspective, and this goes for like any situation, not just in relationships, but trying to understand other people's perspective can be huge in helping us navigate just relationships and life in general. I think this world would be a much better place if more people could learn to put themselves in the shoes of others, but it's hard to do when so many people are stuck in survival mode. So overall theme of this reading for Cancer, overall theme of this connection, what does Cancer need to know in order to move forward in alignment with their higher self? Ooh. You still miss me. I feel like you know, and then you trust the universe here. But I feel like there's another one that needs to come out. I feel like this person does. It's like they still miss you, but there's some pride here. Some ego for sure. But there's more to it. Someone has unmet needs. Okay. So I feel, Cancer, like you were dealing with unmet needs in this connection for a while. Maybe hoping that eventually things would progress, that eventually things would become what you were hoping they'd be, especially if there are like emotional needs that are being unmet. I don't know. Let's just unpack. Let's just see what we've got going on here. This is for Cancer side of this connection, sparks with dead end. I definitely feel like this is a connection in separation, a whirlwind connection in separation. All right, Cancer side of this connection, please. Four of Swords in reverse. You're pretty drained from this whole experience. I kind of get this feeling, Cancer, that you are just kind of tired of dealing with it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. You're tired of feeling this way, that's for sure, because you have this Ten of Swords with the Death card. I feel like things ended in a really painful way here. Maybe there was betrayal, straight up abandonment. I'm not quite sure. I do feel like you're doing what you can with the Two of Swords, the Sun, and the Empress here. I feel like you're doing what you can to prioritize you, your healing, your happiness. But I just feel like it's kind of like a thorn. I feel like this connection is kind of like a thorn that you can't seem to get out. Just feeling like you can't really move on from. Yeah, Two of Wands in reverse. This is kind of this energy of like ruminating and overthinking, and this person is on your mind and you're thinking about what they're doing and how they're feeling and where they're at. Like even if you don't want to, yeah, because there's the Devil. And also you could be dealing with a fire sign. Leo, Aries, Sagittarius if you wanted to, or if you, you don't have to be though. Okay. So it's like even though you're pretty over it, you're over this whole thing, how it felt, the experience itself, it feels like you're still a little bit attached to it. Even if you don't want to be. For some of you, you might want to be. For other people who are like, I kind of just want to be, I just want to put this behind me. But just feeling like you can't really put it behind you. Like you might be trying to distract yourself. Interesting. Because I said that about this person. You might be trying to distract yourself, maybe trying to date other people, maybe trying, again, to focus on you. But it just feels like there is something unfinished about the energy in this connection. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about unfinished between you and this person, but an unfinished lesson here, something that still needs to be addressed and still needs to be learned. The universe will often bring us back to something, back to the experience of something until we fully learn our lesson from it, until we really, truly close out some sort of cycle or karmic experience or whatever the case might be. And I feel like in this connection, it's like you keep getting drawn back to it, or you keep getting drawn back to the experience of it, even if you're trying to move forward. And I think that, first of all, healing takes time. So sometimes it just, it might take a little bit more time for us to move forward. But I feel like there's something here. I do. I feel like there's something here, something that needs to be addressed, something that needs to be seen to help you really, really move forward so that you can let go of this for good, let go of the pain, let go of the experience, and ultimately attract better things in your future, better experiences in love, whatever the case might be here. Because again, I feel like your needs were really unmet in this connection for a long time. But I also kind of feel like you looked past a lot of things in this connection because of the potential that you saw in it. And it feels like you did that, like anybody in your shoes would do that. So, I think that that's what's interesting. When we, look past a lot of things or accept less than what we deserve or, whatever, put up with a lot in a connection, and then somebody does us wrong or it ends up not working out, it can feel really difficult for us because we're not only was I putting myself in a position to accept less than what I deserved from you, but then at the end of the day, you didn't even see the value in that, and you left anyway, or the connection fell apart anyway, or whatever the case is. It can feel like not only were we not good enough as we were, but we also weren't good enough even when we were self-abandoning. And so that can really do a number on our self-esteem. But the number one thing that you need to know, and not just you in particular, Cancer, but just us as human beings, is that our other people's behaviors or the way that they treat us, the things that they do, is way more of a reflection of them and where they're at on their journey than it is of us. And we can't take it personally, no matter how personal it feels. So somebody, not treating you well or not valuing you or whatever the case is more of a reflection of their capacity than it is a reflection of your actual value and what it is that you're really deserving of. So it's a lot. I feel like there's a lot here. But, I do feel like I said, there is a deeper purpose for this. You and this person were definitely supposed to meet for some sort of a reason. All right, this person's energy toward you, Cancer, and I feel like we're going to start to get clear on it when we look at their energy toward you. This person's energy toward Cancer, please. The Two of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. I'm getting a little bit of a selfish energy from this person. Their priorities, it's like their priorities are always their needs, their desires, their safety, their security, emotionally. Almost to the extent of not caring so much about how their energy affects other people. Here's what's confusing with this Ten of Cups, though, is I feel like they really did see you they saw a future here. I feel like they saw potential in this, but it also kind of feels like they didn't, the Four of Swords, like they didn't act that way. Like, you're like, could have fooled me. Like, that's kind of the energy I get based on how they acted. As Four of Swords is a like very drastic change from your Four of Swords in reverse. It feels like they were definitely the priority in the connection. I feel like their needs were prioritized over yours, their desires. You were putting in the effort. They were definitely in the position of the taker. You were in the position of the giver here. And I think that was going on for a really long time before things kind of exploded. I don't know what, like, exploded. That's the best way I can describe it. And I think that, with this devil here, this person might have other kind of issues. Maybe there's an addiction there. Maybe there's just unhealthy habits. There's kind of just, like, in general, some toxicity in this energy. And be caught up in things that aren't really all that good for them. It's interesting too, because I feel like they didn't mean to do the things that they did. Yeah, because there's the Five of Cups. I feel like they're disappointed with where things are at too. But again, I just get this vibe where it's like, well, you could have fooled me because of the way that they acted here. Because again, it feels very selfish. It feels very like looking out for numero uno. And I feel like they, a lot of times when people, and I said this at the very beginning, I said, I think this world would be a better place if more people could put themselves in the position of seeing things through the perspective of others, but it's really difficult to do, and a lot of people are living in survival mode. When people are stuck in, that survival mode mentality, the world is out to get me, I can't trust anybody, people always leave, I always get hurt, they are going to act selfish because they're going to have their guard up ready to protect themselves from anything that could go wrong at any time, which means that they're allowing their wounds to really drive their decision making, because they're basically saying the ways in which I've been hurt before are the ways in which I can expect to be hurt again. So they're projecting past experiences and past insecurities onto you, which isn't fair to you because you didn't do the things to hurt them, right? But at the same time, that really is the difference between healthy relationships and unhealthy relationships. In healthy relationships and people who are capable of having healthy relationships, those are going to be the types of people that have dealt with their stuff, are aware of their traumas and their triggers and their insecurities, and carries their own baggage and deals with it and can recognize when these things start to arise and take accountability and have a willingness to grow and communicate openly and be vulnerable and things of that nature. Unhealthy relationships are when you're dealing with people that are in such a traumatized, triggered state that they're just constantly emotionally reactive, just doing whatever they can to avoid accountability or growth or healing, and ultimately repeating those uncomfortable experiences that they've had in the past. So what happens is when there's something really promising, when you show up with all this love and all of this wonderful energy, they're already expecting it to go wrong. So instead of allowing themselves to open up and be vulnerable and let things unfold, they are already going to they're going to sabotage it, or they're going to push it away or do whatever to avoid the hurt later on. It's like the classic, it's better to leave than get left, or it's better to sabotage than to get hurt later on. And so I just feel like this person has a lot of things that they haven't dealt with, a lot of things that they need to address, a lot of things that are very unhealed in their world. Now, I think that it's hard because when we really love someone, all we want to do is to help them, especially when they're dealing with a lot of things. It's like, well, I wanted to be there for them. I wanted to support them. I wanted to help them heal or help them grow or whatever the case is. But in the process of that, there was a lot of self-abandonment. And on your end here, Cancer, and I feel like you did it for the sake of empathy and for the sake of love. But, remember that the goal is to love ourselves well without harming others, right? Obviously, we want to make sure we're prioritizing ourselves, but not to the extent where others are harmed. But we also want to make sure that we're loving others without harming ourselves. And sometimes, when we're dealing with people who are a little bit stuck in some lack of healing and in a bit of a selfish energy, sometimes for those of us who have done a little bit of healing or have a little bit of empathy, we jump into this savior role and we want to try to help them. We want to fix them. We want to, heal them. We want to show them that they can be loved and things of that nature, which is a natural, I think, response when you care about someone. But in that process, especially in this connection, I feel like you self-abandoned a lot. You kind of because again, so much of this connection was about this person and what they needed and what they wanted, and it just feels like you weren't a priority, almost like there wasn't space for you here. And I feel like this is kind of this lesson for you in recognizing that your needs matter too, your desires in relationships matter too, and the people who aren't capable of showing up for you in the way that you show up for them aren't deserving of all that you have to give. And I think that it's hard sometimes when we see things from that perspective when it's hard when we're dealing things with these types of connections, because we need to see things from that perspective instead of the perspective of I self-abandoned and it still wasn't enough, because that's not what this is about. It's not that what you have to give wasn't enough. It's not that you gave everything that you had and this person didn't value it, therefore you are unvaluable. And I feel like that's why Spirit keeps bringing you back to this connection, is because it's so important that you don't see things from that perspective. It's so important that you see things from the perspective of any time we self-abandon in a connection, it's going to end in heartbreak, because we are from some place saying, I am unlovable for who I am, and I must be more than I am. I must self-abandon my own needs and my own desires in order to be valuable to another person. And when that is the case, when you self-abandon, since our relationships with other people are a direct reflection of our relationship with ourselves, it is going to end in heartbreak. Because again, if we're self-abandoning, our relationships are a reflection of what's going on within us. There might be abandonment, there might be betrayal, that kind of explosion, however things ended here. So I feel like this connection isn't pushing you to try harder, be better in order to be loved, but to understand that you are lovable and deserving of love as you are and for what you have to give, and the right people are going to value that. And I feel like the reason you and this person met and the reason why you can't seem to shake it is because it's important that you learn that lesson so you don't repeat it, right? The last thing you want to do is go through all of this again. So I feel like the universe is trying to draw you back to it so that you can address these things moving forward. And ultimately the reasons why, for me, I had to really understand. I've been in a lot of different connections and I've had kind of different roles in them, and I've been on this side and I've been on this side. I've been on the side of being someone who was very selfish, who looked out for myself, who projected, who was very insecure, who took it out on their partners. I didn't realize I was doing it. It wasn't like I was intentionally trying to hurt people, but I did. And I had to eventually take accountability for that, for my role that I played in my own suffering, and I had to grow. And once I grew and started kind of understanding why I did the things that I did, I ended up on this side where now I had so much empathy for people who were like I was, people who were a little bit selfish, a little bit stuck in survival mode, didn't know how to give and receive love, that I then over kind of corrected and tried to then become everything that I needed to be in order to help save or fix those people. And then after a few more years of some healing and some growth, I learned that there's a balance, that exists in healthy relationships, and it's where both people are prioritizing themselves and showing up for themselves first, and that aligns with the connection, where there's no self-abandoning, there's no one person giving more than the other, taking more than the other. And sure, no relationship is 50-50 all of the time, but on average, a relationship should even out to pretty close to 50-50. If you're constantly showing up with 70-80% and this person's giving you the bare minimum for a long period of time, that's not what you deserve. You deserve someone that, sure, you might have to show up with 70 or 80% if they don't have as much energy to give, but there should be times where this person is showing up with just as much, is supporting you and being there for you just as much as you show up. And I feel like you really lacked that in this connection, and I feel like that's what Spirit is trying to teach you, is that you're deserving of the love that you have to give, not that you need to give more in order to be deserving of love. In between this connection, you have fate with wild card. We're going to hop on over to the extended, looking at the deeper into the deeper purpose and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Thank you so much, Cancer, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Cancer.